Everyone else was talking about saving for retirement, and I was looking in my couch cushions for change to buy mac and cheese. 15 minutes, that's all it's gonna take to completely change your life. I'm sharing my best habits and strategies that propelled my life forward in unimaginable ways. Until I was in my early 30s, I really struggled. Homelessness, drug addiction, high school dropout. I couldn't keep a job. And even when I pulled myself out of the gutter, everyone else around me my age was buying houses, and I was riding my yard sale bike to multiple minimum wage jobs. And it wasn't even just about the fact that I was always broke. I was 100 pounds overweight. I was exhausted. I was unmotivated. I just felt like every aspect of my life was a disaster. My house was a disaster. I could not get ahead. And that's when I decided to stop stressing about the fact that I didn't have some manual that everyone else seemed to have about how to do life well. And I created my own. I started reading every book I could get my hands on. And I promise you, if you implement these two, not only will you catch up to everyone else, but it's like instead of getting on the train, you're getting on an airplane and you will get ahead. The first thing is tiptoeing towards your goals. I had always been a person who would start my diet on Monday, or I'm going to join the gym at the end of this month, or I'm going to start saving when I get that promotion. It was this all or nothing mentality with every goal that I had to wait until Saturday to clean my entire house. So I read the book Atomic Habits, life-changing. I stopped telling myself I was going to do things later, and I started doing things right now, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Right now, I'm writing a book. I fell into old patterns and I lied to myself and said I was going to write on Thursdays, or I was going to take one weekend a month and stay in an Airbnb and just write the whole time. That never happened. Now, I just have this habit of 5 minutes before I go to bed, I write one sentence or one paragraph. And this has got me to the point where I'm almost done an entire book. One sentence at a time. That is the secret. This mindset and this way of thinking of I'll start saving for retirement when I make more money. I'll go on that vacation when I retire. I'll start crafting when I organize my craft room. All these kind of someday promises to yourself equal nothing. And even if we do clean the whole house on Saturday in a big burst of 3 hours, it is not as impactful as if we would just do housework for 5 or 10 minutes a day. Little tiny tiptoes add up to bigger leaps than doing things all at once. So catch yourself having those thoughts and break them. What can you do right now? And consistency is that magical thing that keeps us going. When we can do a tiny tiptoe, we are way more likely to do that same action tomorrow and the next day and the next day when things are easy and effortless. So stop that all or nothing mentality. Stop waiting to do that big, amazing thing until you have the time, the money, the space, the mental capacity, and do something small right now. That mentality, that habit changed everything about my life. Let's set a goal together. Let's have a little challenge. What is one thing in your life? Put it in the comments that you have been dreaming or telling yourself that you're going to do someday. And what is a 5 or 10 minute thing you can do every day towards that goal? Make a commitment to yourself to tiptoe towards your goal right now. The next habit that changed my life, I learned from Peter Walsh, and this is called Complete the Cycle. I read a book by Peter Walsh where he talked about completing the cycle is like a load of laundry. So you wouldn't stop a load of laundry before it got to the rinse cycle. So why are you stopping all of these tasks before you're totally done? I was so guilty of this. Whether it was something really small like doing the dishes and then I would let the rest of them drip dry for days. The idea of completing the cycle is breaking every task down into something that actually has a finish. So writing a book, yeah, I'm not going to write the entire book, but if my goal is to write one sentence or one paragraph, cha-ching, I get the win. Maybe your goal is to only wash 10 dishes. you still get that little hit of completing the task, putting away one load of laundry, or maybe just the underwear from the laundry, but actually giving yourself a concrete goal that it's like, this means I'm finished. Even if the whole goal or task isn't finished, this mindset creates those like feel good hits of winning and completing, which are very addicting. Before you know it, when you follow this habit and this sort of way of life, you're literally like addicted to finishing. You want to check things off your to-do list because it feels so good to be a completer. And it isn't that you're working any harder, it's just you're consistently pushing the needle forward because you're always completing the cycle. This next strategy is my favorite. I'm writing a book with this exact title, and it's awesome sauce. Do it. I'm not going to swear for the rest of this video, but the concept is allowing yourself to do things badly, allowing yourself to just suck at something and fail. And why this is so magical is A, it takes all the pressure off of you, and B, you find that doing shortcuts is actually a smarter, more effective way to go through life, because 99% of the things we do not have to be done with excellence or perfection. In fact, that's a waste of time. This is such a secret. When you stop worrying about doing everything right or well or how you're supposed to do it and embrace doing it crappy, magic happens. My daughter Abby wanted to learn to play the ukulele. She got one for Christmas. We wanted to give her lessons. Instead, she was like, I'm just gonna learn some bad songs off the internet. I'm just gonna play around. I'm just gonna do a crappy job. And then the next day she would learn another not so great song, and then the next day another. Now she plays the piano and the guitar and ukulele, and she's so gifted because she did it in this no pressure fun way. And this is what happens when you give yourself permission to take shortcuts and do things badly. You're more likely to do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. And all of this consistency adds up to actual skill. So for you, you feel like you're sucking at things, but in fact, you are actually really proficient at it. This is how I got good at organizing and decluttering and creating content. The first video I ever made was so bad, so shaky, but eventually things get good. But it never feels like hard work or effort because you allow yourself to fail, allow yourself to take shortcuts, and allow yourself to do things badly. I learned this strategy when I was really, really broke. So at first I was resistant to give yourself an hourly rate. What this means is decide how much your time is worth per hour. So for me, I decided $25 an hour. And this isn't what you think. This doesn't mean that you turn your nose up at things and think, I'm worth more than that, and I'll pay people to do everything. Because I'm cheap and I had more time than money. But what this did help me realize was when I looked at everything of how much it would cost, I was able to decide some things were not worth it. So would I pay someone $50 to wash and fold all my clothes before I donated them? No. So why am I spending 2 hours doing that? Why am I costing myself $50 in time? If I notice my curtains are dusty, would I spend $200 to pay someone to take down all my curtains and wash them and then rehang them? That's bonkers. I would never pay that. So why would I do that? Instead, I'm just gonna roll them with a sticky roller and call it a day. Would I pay someone to clean my house if I couldn't? Probably, yeah, because it has to be done. So that's worth my time. By gauging all the things we wanna do and giving our hours an hourly rate and asking ourselves, is it worth the money as opposed to the time? It's a great way of prioritizing yourself, making your time matter. So you're spending it on the things that are going to push the needle forward and you're not wasting it on the stuff that just doesn't count. This helped me reframe everything that I do when I put a dollar amount on my time. And instead of saying, is it worth the 6 hours? It was like, well, 6 hours, but is it worth 5 times 6? Is it worth? Is it worth $150? Absolutely not. I could be spending that 6 hours doing something way more impactful, way more important, and maybe even something that's making me money. When you reframe yourself, when you give yourself an hourly rate, it changes everything about how you think about time. So, right now, take a few seconds and what's your hourly rate? Don't undersell yourself. You are worth at least $25 an hour. Okay, we've all heard fake it till you make it, but this is super impactful. And I feel like my ADHD brain took it to the next level, but I started doing this when I was running a daycare. I was struggling to just get my dishes done and have a shower. And then I had 9 children in my house, 3 of which were babies under the age of 2. And I wasn't great at it. But then I pretended that I was the CEO of some daycare company. And I started having schedules and running it like a real CEO. And then I started running my house like a CEO. And sometimes when I really didn't feel like doing something, I would put on an apron and gloves and pretend that I was a hired cleaner to clean. Or I'm pretending I'm a gardener when I'm gardening. And when I want to work out, I put on yoga pants and running shoes and I pretend like I'm a really fit person. How would a fit, exercisey person act? And then I am way more likely to do those things. It's okay to play pretend. It's okay to imagine the person that you want to be and then act like you're that person. Pretend you're that person and live your life and take actions like that person would. Before you know it, you will become what you're pretending to be. Here's something you can do in literally 1 second that it will prove this to you. Tony Robbins calls it like a power pose, but like stand like someone who's powerful and confident. Make body movements. This is why Mel Robbins says to high five yourself in the mirror in the morning, because you're like, I'm excited about life. You will instantly feel the way you're pretending to be. So high five yourself right now. Or like, da 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 da, Superman pose. You'll instantly feel more confident and more capable. This one's weird, but it's effective. And that's adding shock absorbers to your schedule. What I mean by this is, maybe this is an ADHD thing, but if I have an appointment at 2, I'll put in my calendar that it's 1:45. If I have to be at a Zoom meeting, I say that the Zoom meeting in my calendar starts 5 minutes before it does. I always give myself this buffer, this shock absorber, giving myself this like flexibility in my schedule and always extending things that I think is gonna take 1 hour to like an hour and a half. It always just makes life easier. So build some shock absorbers into your day too. Work with your brain's schedule. Just like organizing isn't one size fits all, how your brain works and when you feel energized isn't the same as everyone else either. Some people like to get up at 5 and go for a run. I am not a morning person. In fact, I'm a night person. I get my burst of energy at like 8 o'clock at night. So that's when I do the things that are tough, like clean the house. And this is when I write at night because I know that's when I'm feeling the most energized and the most motivated. What's your energy time? Are you an afternoon person? Are you a mid-morning person? Knowing this and scheduling your activities around your natural energy levels is key to being more productive. This one's kind of weird, but it's identify your productivity places. What I mean by that is there's different areas that you go to that affect your motivation differently. For me, I write best in my bed for some reason. Maybe you love to craft, you have a craft room, but you feel the most creative at your dining room table. It doesn't mean you have to move all your craft supplies into the dining room, but it's okay to take a couple of them and work in there when you need that extra mojo. A lot of people like to work at Starbucks, or maybe the place you feel the most energized is outside on your porch. What I'm really talking about is having the self-awareness to realize where you get your best work done. And a lot of the times it is tied to location and zones. So know yours and don't be afraid to move and work there. We're getting a little woo-woo for just a second. Is it woo-woo? I don't know. Mindset mantras. Mantras are pretty magical, honestly, because I feel like there's these short little sayings that stick in your head like that annoying theme song from the 90s. My point is, I have a bunch of mantras that just are rattling around in there, and I have a terrible memory. But things like the surfaces are hot lava, so I don't put things down or it'll burst into flames, or 5 minutes matters, or if it takes a minute or less, do it now. There's a bunch of little mantras that you can repeat over and over or put on sticky notes around your house, and eventually they just sink into your head and become the rules for your life. Never leave a room empty-handed. That one is just ingrained in my brain. All of these mantras that I practiced and said out loud over and over until they just became unconscious thoughts, they have 100% improved my life. Put some mantras in the comments below if you have them, and let's pick one to practice this week. I want to take a second to thank Skylight Calendar for sponsoring today's video. Skylight helps me stay organized, not just me, but my entire family. I have my Skylight Calendar right here on the kitchen counter, and it acts as our command center. Our busy family has 3 teenagers, so there's a lot going on, and Skylight helps us manage everyone's schedule, but we also have the Skylight Calendar Plus, which helps us meal plan every single week. I'm also adding chore lists and rewards and tasks, so absolutely everything we need to stay organized and to stay focused is all in one convenient place. Not only does Skylight sync with all of your digital calendars, but you can also take a photo of any paper flyers or schedules that you get, and it will automatically add that to your calendar too. So it's really easy to just stay uber organized all the time. Get organized in 2025 with Skylight Calendar. Use my code Clutterbug30, click the link in the description, or scan the QR code for $30 off your 15-inch calendar available globally. Making sure your to-do list actually matches your goals. This is really hard to explain, so I'm going to use Emily as an example. Emily has a lot going on. She's planning a wedding, she wants to buy a new house, she's on this crazy diet exercise regime, so she looks awesome in her wedding dress. So when she's writing this huge list, it looks like every day is filled with things like workout, meal plan, make an appointment with the bank for the mortgage, take the dog for a walk, go grocery shopping, clean the house. But at the real crux of it, the most important thing, the thing she wants to do first, and the thing that is the most important, is getting a new home before she's married. But she tends to do all the other things on the list and kick calling the bank down the road. This is what everyone does. Instead, we write down all the things we want to do in a day, and then we identify which of these is the one that actually gets me closer to my most important goal. And we do that one. This is a long way of just saying, write a list, look at each task on the list. Don't worry about what is the most urgent. Focus on what is the most important thing that you can do to get closer to where you want to be. I really wanted to make this video because I wish I would have known all of these little things sooner, and honestly, I wish I would have actually tried them. You've probably heard all of these things before, but are you actively trying to implement them into your life? Like, are you making these little changes in habits and strategies a priority? A little bit of change has a huge impact. These things have taken me from a complete bum, just struggling in every area, to someone who is succeeding. And I want that for you too. You don't gotta work harder. You don't have to try. You don't have to hustle. You don't have to get up at 5 a.m. You just have to make subtle little changes in the way you live your life. Every successful person that I know, without exception, is someone who is constantly leveling up their life by listening to the experts, by listening to podcasts or reading books and learning new skills. When I was broke, I started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Wealthy Barber, anything by Dave Ramsey, and this amazing, crazy thing happened in my brain where I actually started getting better with money. Nothing else had changed. It wasn't like I was earning more money. It's just how I thought about money was different because I was thinking about it like the experts. And everything changed. When I was really messy, hoarder level bad, I watched Peter Walsh's show and then I read Peter Walsh's books and something in my brain started changing and I became a tidy, organized person. You're watching this YouTube video right now. You're doing it right now. Whether you realize it or not, all of this information is like a tool for your toolbox and all of it will add up to a better life. Let me know in the comments below which of these you want to give a try, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for those of you who have stayed to the end. I finally won a battle. 24-year-long battle with my husband. He's a perfectionist. I am not. And we do like little DIY projects all the time. He does not love them. I rope him in. But every time we're doing something like right now, the kitchen, and something's not cut straight, or something has a crack, or I've painted and it's actually got all over the ceiling, I always say, let's just put quarter round over it. Quarter round's like this like bead molding, and I always just want to use it to cover mistakes everywhere. And he's always like, quarter round is not a solution, and he always says no. But when I messed up the wallpaper real bad in that Bridgerton video, he went to the store and got quarter round. It doesn't matter that I may have been wrong 650,000 million times. The one time I was right, I feel like I've won at life. I feel like maybe I'm smarter than you, Joe. Maybe quarter round is the solution. I don't know if you are like this with your spouse, where you are polar opposites and you always just want to do things one way and they want to do things another way, but let me know how your relationship is holding up. Mine's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Is it okay, Joe? It's okay. Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you next time.